Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. This is the planning call for Secure and Govern for 1610. First thing I want to remind everyone, because I fixed the date. Yesterday I had it like the 29th or something. I don't know why I did that. But this will end with aligning with Summit. So if you were planning like normal, you're going to have a few days less due to travel and all that fun stuff. So keep that in mind. You might need to adjust things if you haven't. There is a SAST issue that is an S2. It looks like a customer had concerns about this originally being an S3. So I think Connor switched it. So it is now an S2. Yeah. And a P1. So you're going to have to figure out what that is. Michael, have you taken a look at this recently?
Yeah, I did. I actually brought it to Connor's attention. It sounds like it's just something that needs to be updated with our rule mapping, because currently they're not mapping right to whatever tool we're using, so we're showing the wrong information. So I think it's more of an engineering change than anything. I don't think there's any design needs there.
Okay. Do you know if it's being planned?
I'm not sure what the priority of is it currently. I asked Connor about it and he said he would handle it, and that was the last I kind of heard about it.
All right. Well, he does have 1610, so.
So I can certainly follow up with him and make sure it's prioritized and we have everything we need.
Yeah, I might as well reach out. It's something I'll just keep an eye on for, we have like a issue that goes around every month for triage or something or other. Usually we don't have anything, so I ignore it, but I'll pay attention this time. Okay, diving into issue planning. So everyone, when you get a chance, update your capacities. Alana, when you watch this, and Emily, I noticed that there aren't any weights on Ilana's. So I just linked to the handbook page for weighting. If you wanted to go over that with her, if it's something that you think is important, I just mentioned it here.
Yeah, definitely. We can talk about that and see if that would be helpful to your process.
Cool. Looks like some people are going to be out, so bear that in mind when you're planning and communicating with team members. Authentication.
More people coming to Summit than listed there.
Shown.
It's so cool and blows my mind that I'm going to meet Camellia in person after 4+ years.
I guess I didn't think of Summit as being out of office since it's technically a work trip, but.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it makes sense because it's going to impact this particular issue, but yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. All right, let's see. Authentication. Looks like there's one need and one nice. Yeah, in progress. So this was something that was already being worked on.
Yeah, I can voice Alana's update.
Okay.
These designs are in progress. We'll continue into 1610. There are a few more details and UX copy to refine, another round of feedback from the team, and hoping we can begin drafting details for solution validation in 1610.
Nice.
Hannah, it looks like you have the next one.
Yeah. Yep. So just trying to feel out everybody's thoughts on this synchronously while we're here. There's some work that we've been talking about doing since I started over 2 years ago, wrapping up some moving settings that are currently like spread all over the place to a new UI or a new menu item called Enterprise User Settings. My my hesitation in this one is that I know in the past adding anything to the nav, and I don't even know that it would be top level, but I looked at the handbook and they want like, even for third level nav changes, they want you to go through like UX research, say why you need a new nav item, prove it, and then they'll make a decision. This is the foundations team. So I didn't know if anyone had stepped through this process recently. I'm not sure how far in advance of us trying to plan this work do I need to get started on kind of the justification.
I've dabbled with it in other areas, but without designers. So just in and out. You want to start as soon as you possibly can, because it will take research and you will have to, like you said, prove it. So what I don't know if there's still a tree test aspect to this, but there's some sort of information architecture methodology research that needs to happen. So you also need like a prototype of the left nav.
Okay.
So I could probably help with that because I did it for observability, I think, and I have it. It's already kind of built. I just need to fix it for settings. So there are things like that. But I wasn't part of the research, so they got their UXR involved. So I'm not sure who authorizations UX person is, UXR person is.
Michael.
Okay, yeah. So you want to reach out to him.
Okay.
I think it's because it's all the proof stuff. You might as well start as soon as you can.
Okay. I know there's a new PM in foundations, but I'm not sure if he's planning on changing any parts of the process, but I suppose I could have a coffee chat with him and try to feel it out too.
Yeah, I think it was changed maybe 3 months ago or something. It was changed fairly recently, updated fairly recently.
To make it what, more restrictive or less?
I don't know. It was already restrictive.
Well,
So there's. Go ahead, Emily.
after they launched the new nav, there were no changes at all, period. So by that standard, slightly less restrictive, but more restrictive than before they rolled out the new navigation, for sure.
Okay.
They basically want you to prove that it cannot be accessed from an internal source. Like if there's another page, that it makes more sense to say, hey, go here to do this. They want to just make sure that it makes sense to add to the net or to the navigation that way.
And maybe there is, I'm open to that option too, if we somehow repurpose part of the user screen or something, but how do I find out what my options are?
You could open a UX issue to explore some different locations for the content. Can we use a different page? Like, should we use tabs? Should we, what are the different options? And we can start to explore that. And I think that's actually part of the process, is like some exploration of like, where could it live? And then if we determine that the best course of action is for it to live in the navigation, then we need to go through the research process to validate that with users.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. I'll stop there. I'm sure I'm well past the 3 minutes for authentication, so I appreciate all the input.
That's all right. I think we have a few groups that have nothing to report anyway. So no worries. But yeah, we just ping us all. We'll help out as much as we can.
Okay.
Authorization.
I can voice Alana's update there. Working with Michael on survey problem validation, and we'll continue to refine design scope related to the validation results.
Okay, fair enough. And this one looks like it's also a need, but it's dependent on the research.
Yeah, dependent on the research. So waiting on some of the results. I know she's done some exploration around that already, but getting to move forward with it until we have results from the research.
Okay. Any ideas on when this would likely be needed? What milestone, for instance?
For the survey or the research, ideally this upcoming milestone. I'm not sure how long research takes, but The information earlier, the better, as we're starting to group these permissions across different teams.
Okay, so try to get the research done in 1610, implying that the design would get done in, well, we want to design and test, so 16, is there 12? I haven't looked. 16, 12, or 17.
Yeah, I can't remember. Where does it
There
stop?
is-
Like 16,
there's no 12.
11?
1611 to
Sometimes
17.
there's not an 11 either.
I'm looking at right now and it's 1611 and then 17.
Okay.
I don't understand why sometimes there's a 12.
Oh yeah, because it counts as 0.
Yeah.
Starts at 0 months.
Yeah.
So did you say 17 for this? Joe?
Is that the milestone after 1610?
No, 1611.
This, yeah, sorry. Well, hang on. So this you want done or expect to be done in 1610. This will get designed in 1611 and
And then applied, yeah, the following milestone. So that would be kind of, and if there's
might-
ways to even break that down further to that second one, where we can maybe even start applying iterations, that would be valuable too.
okay. You'll know more once you get the research and then they start to,
Yeah.
ML starts digging into design, but just for a high level estimate, I guess we could put 17.
Makes sense.
Just to help
Yeah.
with goals.
I was gonna say making sure we leave time for solution validation as well.
Makes sense.
I think I'm thinking we have no idea how big this is, so this is, I should probably put like some estimate marker just so they know that Solana knows it's flexible. Yeah. Okay. Compliance has nothing. Composition analysis has nothing. Dynamic analysis, nothing. Security policies, wow, can't read. CNS and just jump to the conclusion that it's something else. Camellia is not here, and neither is Grant. So there's lots of things going on with a bunch of small things. 2, 4, 6. So I'll have to work with them on that to make sure this is cool. I think they've been talking in the issue. They were talking in one issue. It must have been 16.9. Okay. I'll work with them and make sure everything's good. Static analysis.
Yep, so we have a few things going on this milestone. First of which is we're going to start working on some UX theme development. Not exactly sure. I put about a weight of 3 on that, but that's still a little bit TBD. Beyond that, we're looking to do a little bit more work on pre-received secret detection, really just looking at the surface area in the actual GitLab UI, because currently it doesn't exist in the UI. It's largely just in the IDE or in not the IDE, like a console. So we're looking at how it impacts the UI and just looking at sort of the minimum viable solution to make that work. Then beyond that, looking to continue the secret detection job to be done process and kind of following that playbook that's outlined. So I'm not sure what that looks like yet. I need to sync up with Michael Oliver to understand who's doing what and what the process looks like in timeline, but making sure I'm accounting for that some way here.
Okay.
And then last but not least, as a nice to have, still working to do some final changes and tweaks to the static analysis inline finding tweaks, kind of post MVC iteration there. And that's not a huge priority, just sort of wrapping up some stuff.
Okay, that works. Hopefully there won't be a lot here. Hopefully it's something that Michael Oliver could mainly take on.
Yeah, yep, yeah, that would be nice. Free up some of my capacity to do other stuff.
Yeah.
And then the last big thing I'm working on, as long as I'm talking, is the MR security stuff. So trying to dedicate a good amount of time to that. right now we're looking at the workflows and the research and stuff. And I think from that will come out some actual design needs, but what those are yet is still to be determined.
Cool. Makes sense. Thank you. Thread insights.
Yep. So I have my first research session booked next Monday to learn more about tracking vulnerabilities in locations other than the default branch. There's some things in there that I want to show some of our customers. It's going to be all customers that we're speaking with that we know have these issues, have these problems. But yeah, so tracking vulnerabilities in other locations. There's a couple of discussions with engineering going on about how we could do this. If it's comparing branches, vulnerabilities between two branches, if it's just looking at another branch, if it's looking at a tag. So I'm gonna show designs to our customers and get their feedback. And then the other one is dashboard needs. We've neglected the security dashboard for as long as I've been on Threat Insights. We haven't added or changed anything there. And so there's a lot of metrics needs because we have heard that security engineers need to report up to their CISO or CIO, whoever their leadership is, what the security posture is of their application. And we just we don't have too much going on at the project or at the group level right now. So we know that there's needs here, and a lot of customers are using APIs and third-party tools to get what they need from here. And so yeah, we want to focus on this more this year. But I'm going to wrap up this research and the findings, and then carry that feedback into design iterations, if I can, in 1611. But I think it's official now, Justin, that I'm being borrowed to the observability team, starting 17. Oh, no. Yeah.
1611.
1611, right. Okay, this is 1610. So I want to wrap up this research and make sure that Threat Insights is in a good place, because it sounds like I won't be dedicated to Threat Insights for at least 3 milestones. So yeah, want to wrap up the research and just kind of put a bow on anything that I can. I'm sure I'll still get pings when I'm over in observability. But then there was that ping from Tiago yesterday too.
Yeah.
And there's also, there's a lot. I feel like I'm spread kind of thin right now. I know that Joe and Grant, I haven't forgotten about that research that y'all need about alerting and notifications. So I added that as, if there's extra time in the research I'm about to kick off, I will ask some of our participants about that. But that's such a big thing, so it probably needs its own dedicated research, and I won't be able to assist on that with the observability borrow. So I don't know if Michael Oliver has some capacity there, but that's where we're at.
Do you remember who was driving that need? Was it Grant?
The alerting and
Yeah.
that would be Grant opened the issue for problem validation. Yeah, okay. Grant and John Crowley.
Okay.
They said that Target end of 16.9 to have it refined, planned, get it moving in 16.10, finish in 16.11.
Probably ping them and Michael Oliver. Problem validation, generally speaking, is something that UXR and product would be doing anyway.
Okay.
So it's not out of the realm to back off if you are feeling stretched thin.
Yeah, it says who will be leading the research: PM DRI, Grant, PM support, John, UXR DRI, Michael Oliver.
Okay.
So I would love to like review a script or just make sure that, because this is very much also in Threat Insights, and Alana and I are finishing our UX roadmap, or sorry, what are we calling it? UX themes for this year later today. And so, and there's some issues related to notifications and alerting in there. So I don't know, this is kind of a weird one, I guess. It's like research being led by a different team, but it's also under Threat Insights. But so I would love to work together. Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to support a lot of different teams right now. So we'll see what I can do.
All right. Well, just make sure that they're aware of your involvement or your request for involvement. It doesn't sound like they need you to do work, but if you want to participate, like reviewing scripts and whatnot, that is totally up to you.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Michael Oliver, speaking of research, he gave us some notes. So jobs to be done survey report is being reviewed by the UXR team, and he'll also have an MR that links the results on the handbook page for the future, hopefully later today. So the MR is going to add our secure and governed jobs, and I believe the ODI outcomes, because that's what's currently on there for create. So I think it's going to mirror that. There are no jobs on there right now, so he's going to try and figure out how to fit jobs on there. He's also going to be doing the compliance survey and getting the last results. The response had slowed down last week, and now he's working with Alana on the CRUD permission survey. And most of his time is supporting the use case adoption research, which will continue through the end of the month, possibly mid-March, but he will have more capacity once compliance survey is finished. Anyone know what that is? I have no idea what use case adoption research is. Yeah. Sounds interesting. Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting that he doesn't have the notification and alerting on there.
Yeah, he may have missed it.
I'm pretty sure I know what the use case adoption research is.
What is it?
Have you heard last year we talked a lot about DevSecOps blockers? I can come back and link. I'm having trouble finding it was like a spreadsheet we worked off of, but basically it drove priorities a lot in products because it was kind of like people would buy Ultimate and then not use any of the features because of these blockers. I know one of which was there was no customizable permissions. So we've been like tackling them. And I think now we've tackled them to the point where Michael was tasked with doing another evaluation of like, okay, now that we've tackled the blockers, what other blockers are there, or are there any left? And I think that's going to drive some of our priorities for the year.
Cannot type. Okay, that all makes sense and sounds like worthwhile research. Yeah, so hopefully Michael will see this and will comment on what's going on with notification and stuff. Anything else on anyone's mind? Everyone feel like they're being supported in 1610? Any concerns? No, looking good. All right, awesome. Thank you all. What?
Growing the secure and govern UX team at all this year?
I
Given
have
that
not
so
heard
many of us.
anything.
Okay.
I've heard potential desire from governed side, but I haven't heard if they're able to provide details on proving the need. So I have no idea.
Okay.
Haven't heard anything from Valerie on that from the UX side, but I've only heard it from Sam on the governed side.
I know that we're hiring, we're planning on hiring other designers, so hopefully that would prevent like too long of a borrow or the need to borrow.
Yeah,
At least.
in general, yes, but if you're thinking observability, I don't know if they have a rec. This started because they're trying to prove that they needed a rec.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Who can tell? There is hiring, we are growing. I just don't know if it's in these spaces. All right, anything else on anyone's mind? Sounds like no. All right. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your day and talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.